Hello, you are with Lauren Holley-Allen. This is class 13, yeah, of Emergency Management Made Easy with Lauren. And I'm glad to see you. And we have a lot to cover because I have a question, which is my title for class 13. Are you prepared to work with the professional helpers? Do you know how? Are you prepared to work with the professional helpers? I want to introduce you to them. Meet the community helpers. Who are they? And I suggest you take good notes because there's a lot of good information that I'm going to impart today. Well, let me introduce you to the people who we often take for granted. And we assume that they will always be there to respond when we are in trouble. We just assume that because of what they do. Now, upon completion of your emergency operation plan, this was the sentence that I gave you last week. We will request assistance from the trainers recruited from outside agencies who are volunteering their time. Additional community resources are, as part of your planning process, you might need to invite the expertise of experienced professionals in various fields. You might need various organizations with leadership abilities to guide you through your safety and security process and planning protocols. Communication with external community partners. It's important to address beforehand how your business, worship house, and family members will communicate with all the individuals who are directly or might be indirectly involved during any emergency or crisis. Develop ongoing relationships with law enforcement in your community. Collaborative planning teams should be an active part of your process in the development of your emergency plan. Additional team resources. Who are they? Let's look at them. And I'm going to go through. Pencils up. This may not be in the book, so everyone should be writing this week. Emergency management agencies, FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, DHS, Department of Homeland Security and Fire Management Facilities. Schools and worship houses may be under attack and need to discuss how to resolve specific issues and identify and manage any threats as they relate to your specific geographical area. In addition, something might have happened in the community that has to be discussed and addressed and mitigated. Community participants as added resources. Agencies, organizations, or business entity list of selected team members include protective security advisors, administrative staff, local fire department, local law enforcement provides security assessment of various organizations. They'll provide it for you. They examine the safety, accessibility, and emergency preparedness of buildings and campuses. Any professional security you've already hired, they're going to be at the table. That's your security professionals, or even the security professionals that are in charge of managing your building. So you may be in an office suite, still I would have that particular person or those persons at the table meeting with you in regard to your plan in your suite on your floor, be it whether you have the entire floor rented out or whether you just have a suite. Still, the people downstairs, your security teams, should be at the table. Just thought about that. The NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Local Defense Fund, those are your lawyers, your attorneys, and that's a free service. That's your local defense fund. Local banks, local hospitals, administration and staff can be invited. Department of Juvenile Services, there might be teenagers in the community wreaking havoc. Local hospital administration, yes. CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, your local chapters. It's CAIR, Council on American Islamic Relations, local. All houses of worship, Christian churches and affiliations, Jewish Federation, local, Jewish Community Council Center, local, Catholic churches too. Healthcare teams, nurses, physicians, crisis support professionals, social workers, counselors, mental health teams. Mayor of city and city council members. Board members of businesses and banks. Behavioral threat assessment teams, academic campuses, all levels. Administrative staff, principals, and teachers. College administrators and staff. Parents and caregivers, your volunteers. Security professionals, already covered that. Other security teams in your community. They could be at other churches or at other buildings, and since you're in the same geographical area, you might want to invite them to come and sit at your meetings, because the problems that are existing in the community are of concern for everyone. The librarian at your school, college, your custodian, your custodians or your custodian teams, cafeteria team, anyone in a supportive role serving students and faculty, specialized support personnel, staff familiar with disability law and protocol, staff familiar with disability law and protocol, mental health professionals, psychologists, social workers, and psychiatrists. Remember, you and your team are getting to know your helpers, first of all. You are establishing who and why to call for help. Know before the meeting what is the primary purpose for the consultation with the professional helpers. Why are they coming? Why have you invited them? So in preparation for the meeting, pencils up, everyone. Remember to know your risks before and during your meeting. Never be too proud to seek help wherever it is available. That's why I've given you a myriad of people you can call if you need help. What do you want to know? So ask questions. And write that down. Know your limitations. Know what you do not know. I'm adding that. It just popped in my head. As you have prepared your written risk assessment, Have copies ready to share with your visiting professionals. Have the copies ready to share. Include portions of your completed emergency plan with that risk assessment. Show them what you've done, what you worked on, because you'll already have the risk assessment. Ask yourselves questions. This is before the meeting, during the meeting. What would I do if? Based on the risk assessment, what would I do if a fire occurred or some other emergency happened? What should we do if this situation or emergencies occur? What should we do in that case? What are some of the scenarios you've already worked out in your emergency plan that you will do, that you plan to do? Know who and why to call for help. Know who and why to call for help in most situations, especially as it relates to the risk assessment that's already there. You might need the fire department. You might need any number of people. So according to that risk assessment, know in advance, have it written down, the call down as to who these people are and who you might have to call. Ask the helpers, the professionals, for their perspectives concerning your perceived options and obstacles. Example, your limited funds for alarm systems, lighting, or specific equipment you need. How do you ask how you will overcome specific obstacles? And is there grant funding available that the helpers may be aware of? Because you need this lighting and you need these alarm systems or a basic alarm system, but you may not have the money. So maybe they can give you some advice as to what grants are available. Trust the helpers and the process. And I've said this to you before. Trust the process. Now, this is the helper's perspective. What are the best practices? If disasters, emergencies, or incidents occur, they're going to know that. Seek the professionals' advice as mentors. Let them mentor you. And let that be an ongoing relationship. Don't be afraid to ask many questions as you are seeking their perspective. You're trusting the process and the helpers. Now, the helper's job, having completed a site assessment of your business or facility and walking the grounds with you, they are to assist you in mitigating either known or perceived risk from your risk assessment, risky business, and the possibility of adverse results that could take place. They are to determine potential emergency situations and develop creative best practices and response to each with a verbal and written scenario as a result of your individual assessed risk assessment, already written when they get there. Request follow-up meetings with them and written reports as a result of this and every meeting that you attend together. You never know what documentation will be needed for grant funding, insurance purposes, and attorneys in your future. So the helpers come, they do a walkthrough, they look at your risks, they give you best practice information, but you need a written copy from them, something in writing. Store all documents in more than one office or secure place. Repeat, pencils up, everyone in this class today. Store all documents in more than one office or secure place. That goes for the computer systems too. We've already talked about that. You have a computer in another office, at your home, a boss, professional. You need to have secure facilities off grounds as well as in your office. Advice for the small mom and pop business owner. This is a sidebar, but I wanted to add it. You guys have clearly defined authority because you are the primary leader in your small business. You have the capacity to develop additional creative guidelines for your team of under 10 employees according to OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Organization. You can achieve the following. You can work creatively and independently. Written emergency plans aren't required according to OSHA. However, it is in my humble opinion, you might need a plan for the future for the same concerns I have for big business, for legal reasons. You might qualify for a grant. You might need a loan from the bank. There might be an occurrence in your facility in which attorneys might be needed on either side, you or the employee. So, in my opinion, still you need some plan, something written. And if you have a walkthrough with any of these professionals, definitely you need to have that in writing from them. You have flexibility in managing you and your employees' time creatively. You can be very creative. Small group. You can increase and develop specific skills with your backup team, the person who's going to be there, the persons if you are out to lunch or if you are on vacation. And develop and refine organizational order. You have flexibility, although you may have limited time, but you have a lot more flexibility because you're smaller shop, small business. Just giving you that sidebar. So that's all I have to share today. However, I have some advice. Sage advice. Plan your work and work your plan. Plan your work and work your plan. Yes, you can. This is the 13th class. We've been together for a while. I trust that you can do it. I trust that you can do it. Because remember, you're the help until the help arrives. And Mr. Rogers say, always look for the helpers. You know that if you have any questions or concerns, you know I'm at preparebeforeithappens@outlook.com. You can send me an email. I'll try to answer your questions. If I have time during our next class, it will be class 14. That's amazing. And you know that if you want a consultation with me, we can FaceTime, we can do a telephone call, or we can do a Zoom call, whatever you desire. I'm open, I'm here for you, whatever you may need. And I'm going to keep it reasonable. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for, have you subscribed? Have you liked and subscribed? I need you to do that. Please do that because that helps me to stay on. And it gives me credibility with the bosses. YouTube are my bosses. They're my people. Yes. So, yes, subscribe, please. And thank you so much. I will see you next Friday. Bye-bye.